Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Nia
I'm Nani.
and this is Rum News. So we're doing this a little bit different this time, but we're super excited to continue with Rum News because I know we've been trying to keep up and not stop, right? Can't stop, won't stop, guys. Can't stop, won't stop. So for starters, let's smash a like. We made it to our second month without quitting.
It's also our second year anniversary.
I know, second year. Woohoo! Happy Rum News anniversary, guys. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in thus far. Really appreciate it. And let's start with our shot, right? So what are you drinking, Nani?
I have one of our favorite Don Q. It's hard to see with the background, but it's passion fruit flavor. I'm excited. This is really good. I barely have any left in there. It's really good. Goes down really smooth, whether you have it neat or on the rocks or mixed into a cocktail. It's delicious, as you know. I think you're responsible for half of this being gone.
And every time I come to her house, I'm like, oh, let me just put some of this on some ice and drink
I'm just going to pour a little bit of this in here.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you have?
So as you can see from our background, we are celebrating Women's History Month. So I am starting with one of my favorite women, Olivia Stewart. So I'm actually going to take a shot of the single estate sugarcane from Oxbow, which is where she distills. She's 5th generation distiller. This is their barrel-aged straight rum. It was a sample from the Florida Rum Society Happy Hour. So prepare your shots. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. I don't know where my Glencairn is, so shot glass it is. Traditional shot glass.
And their rums are like rum agricole style.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really grassy.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what Olivia looks like, this is her. She focuses on 100% grade A molasses. Like I mentioned, she's 5th generation distiller.
Mm-hmm.
And her funny story was that during COVID, she was in New York and she used to work for an art gallery. So her background is in art.
Go figure.
In the middle of COVID, the world was shutting down. And then all of a sudden, it was like she's going to go home to Louisiana to go spend time with her family because obviously they have a farm.
Yeah.
And a lot more access to be outside and enjoy outside. So she heads home and she's sitting in the living room and her dad talks about all these struggles that they're having. And she decides that she's going to take over the marketing and help them like revamp the brand and everything. Amazingly enough, her dad officially retires and she takes over. And by the end of COVID, she's taken over the entire distillery, which is super impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you, Olivia, for being my inspiration for Women's History Month. Who's your inspiration, Nani?
So today I have, and I'm going to be talking about Maggie Campbell. She's actually CEO of American Cane. She also had a background. It was spirits related. She was actually more in like the whiskey and cognac style spirits. She was also working at a wine importer. But at the time, she was actually considering changing careers. She wasn't sure if she wanted to keep moving forward in spirits. And she used to work for Jermaine Robin, and the founder reached out to her and said, hey, by the way, I recommended you for a rum company. And the rest is kind of history. And so from there, she realized rum is like very undervalued. It's like one of the actual like sort of entirely different as far as like the artistry and the actual spirits world goes. And she's like, it's so undervalued, underrated. And that's where like her passion for it grew. And from then on, and like she went to leading a small business, and then she became the president. And from there, she found herself working on a private project with Mount Gay, and she was on the Mount Gay leadership team. And then she was out in Barbados for a while working with Mount Gay. And then once she came back to the US, she is now CEO of her own company. So congrats to Maggie Campbell and, showing us women this is how to do it. And, power to the women.
Yeah. And thank you to you, Nani, because as always, you always inspire me to be a better woman every day. Okay, so shall we start our official rum news? Do you want to go this time?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll get us kicked off and started. We've got, you guys, last time we had a lot to talk about because we'd been kind of MIA for a little bit. So we do have some things going on in the rum world. I'm going to start us off with, again, in spirit of Women's History Month, women leading rum. Our very own Nia is on that list because she's, freaking amazing, and she's a powerhouse to be messed with. So good luck to anybody who tries and gets in her way. She's just running people over on her way to the top when it comes to the rum industry. But so we have women leading rum. So they have assigned and appointed two new directors, Alexandra Alfaro, who will be leading the Latin American district, and Angelique Julien, she will be leading Europe. So for people who aren't familiar, women leading rum, they're all about promoting female leadership and making sure that, knowledge sharing is available. And they want to be able to make sure that women have access to things like training and education, and to be able to expand and grow in the rum industry, in the sector, because as most people know, it is a very male dominated industry, and women are making their come ups in there slowly but surely, because come on, women have great taste, let's be serious.
And our noses are
unmatched. Yeah, our noses are unmatched. So they're hoping that with these new appointments, it can only expand in the Latin American and European markets. And, from there, women are going to just keep growing and getting in their power. And, like I said, it's just going to continue to create access to training and growth opportunities for women in the rum sector.
Super exciting. I have news about Island Rum Company. If you're not familiar with them, they're based out of Norway, but they actually have production in Cuba, which was surprising. And they actually managed to get a lot of private investment to expand and upgrade their Cuban production.
Mm-hmm.
And this is hoping that they will expand into UK, France, and Italy.
Okay.
They also partnered with Kammer and Kirsch in order to expand specifically the German market with both of their rums. One is called Black Tears, and the other one is called La Progresiva. I think Black Tears is it's like a spiced rum. As you know, a lot of spiced rums are quite popular in Europe, which is quite interesting. But yeah, that's what I have for rum news. What else do you have for rum news, Dani?
Speaking of Island Rum Company, we have the Rum and Cachaça Masters 2025 that just occurred. And for those that don't know, rum does rank as the 5th best all-time selling spirit here in the country by volume for the year of 2024. And although it dropped 8.9% from the previous year, the Euromonitor is predicting that there will be a steady growth in the market. So, as I said, speaking of Island Rum Company, they actually, their gold premium actually got the master medal. It just said Island Rum Company. It didn't say which one. White for superior premium, Worthy Park Overproof got their master medal.
Wow.
And of course, there's the golds and the silvers, and you guys can look that up a little further. There was just too many rums to name, so I'm just going off of which company got the master medal for which category. And then dark rum, we have the ultra premium category. They actually gave away 6 master winners, including House of Rum, their single cask Dominican 2000, Flor de Caña 18-year-old, Barcelo Imperial Mizunara cask, and Havana Club Tributo 25. The Agricole was won by St. James Blanc 55 degrees. The spiced was Dropworks Spiced Drop Rum. And the flavored was, let's see, Plantaray cut and dry rum. So these were the top winners in those respective categories for the Rum and Cachaça Masters 2025.
Awesome. It's
Yeah.
so great to see a lot of familiar brands that we've talked about here on Rum News, right? We've mentioned Dropworks so many times. It's really impressive how many awards they win. Obviously, we're fans of Rum JM, so happy to see them on that too. I think, is it that Rum JM? Yeah, that Rum JM makes amazing, amazing tea punches. Oh my God. And when I went to Rum JM, they had a pimento bitters that they showed us to add that to the what I just talked about. Shoot, the cocktail that they make in Martinique. It's not decollage, with the lime and a little bit of sugar.
That sounds like a caipirinha to me, but
I know
it's not that
anyway,
one.
that's and James makes an amazing cocktails.
Awesome.
The next thing I have on Rum News is a company known as Allied Blenders. They're actually from they're expanding their premium to luxury brand, and they actually are partnering with Good Barrel Distillery, that they're already very well known for their premium rum brand Rock Paper Rum. And it's actually a very well-known Indian brand, so not quite familiar here, but they are up and coming and they're expanding, and they're actually had 100% growth year over year, which is very impressive. What else do you have for Rum News, Nani?
I have Demerara. I apologize in advance because I feel like I have a sneeze coming on. So if I do, excuse me. I have Demerara. You know when it's like, I'm gonna make it for you. Yeah, it's like right at the
while you gather yourself. Should I prepare another shot? Shall we prepare another shot?
Yep.
And my new shot is actually something really exciting, and it kind of belongs in Rum News too. It's the latest and greatest release.
Yep.
From Invasive Species. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw this post. Super excited to have this. I did not buy a full bottle because, as you know, I'm living in boxes, so I'm trying to minimize additional purchases because it's like I'm gonna have to transport. I probably have to add another 2 more boxes of bottles I've bought just living here interim. Sticking with the little one, but the really
I would be more than happy to take some bottles off your hands.
Oh, I'm sure you are. You did take a lot. You did. We did gift you a lot of the bottles.
I know, yeah. From your house to there was some. So now I'm sure there's going to be some more from there to your house.
We'll see. Probably not. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway.
Shame.
But opening this up, the really interesting part about this one is so Invasive Species is originally a brewery. So they make tremendous beer.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of sours, which I don't typically like beer, but I love
sours.
Their sours, which are very different. They have this guava and cheese one, which is my favorite. And they all have like a lot of pastry taste to it.
Yeah.
So they're starting to source their whiskeys and their rums. So they didn't disclose who they sourced this from, but they said that it is from Florida. So super excited because Invasive Species is here in Florida.
Yeah.
But what was really surprising, and you'll be surprised about this too, is that it is a rum aged in oak casks for 4 years. Wow. Now, typically here in Florida, we'll see rum aged for 2 years.
Right. Especially from a new up and coming, like they're not usually jumping off the the deep end with aged rums.
Yeah. Now, I did nose this and taste this in the room, and I was telling Phil that the only distiller that I know that does 4-year-old aged rums is Craig from Copper Bottom. And when they tasted, I was like, oh my God, this is giving me Copper Bottom vibes. So now I'm going to have to reach out to the Craig family and see if this is Copper Bottom, because those suckers at Invasive Species didn't tell me. But cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
This is
Yeah.
what we can see.
And our veterans know that we love good Copper Bottom. They have delicious rum. So
No additives, no coloring.
good
They
choice
really,
on Invasive Species if that's who they're working with.
yeah, that's I'm excited to find out. So I'll have to message them. Oh, it's also 80 proof, but they did have one that was overproof in the tasting room, and it was the same color. So it was an aged overproof Floridian rum. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
That is so smooth.
Marshall says my Copper Bottom is gone now. It's so damn good. Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I sent some to Marshall because I know he also supports a lot of small craft distillers.
Yeah.
Two Rivers is saying send some my way. Absolutely, Two Rivers. If I have any extra rum left, I'll definitely send it your way. Nani got enough.
Hi, Sean. Welcome.
Hi, Sean. Welcome. I hope you had your shot. You gotta catch up, Sean. We're
a couple shots deep.
Yeah. So
all right. As I was trying to say before the sneeze interrupted. So Demerara Distillers Limited has upgraded its aging capacity with a new barrel aging warehouse. So the new warehouse can now accommodate 30,000 barrels, which brings their new total capacity to 130,000 barrels.
Holy crap.
Right. So they're hoping that this is going to help with the rising demand for the Demerara rums. They actually spent, I actually didn't do the conversion, so maybe you'll be able, you'll be more familiar. They spent 730 million Guyanese dollars. Like should we pull a Georgia and be like, how much is that in today's money?
Oh, yeah.
But it's more like, what is that in US dollars? I don't know.
It is 3,480,564 US dollars,
which I think is a steal. Obviously for us in the US, 3 million doesn't go very far when it comes to that kind of stuff. So kudos to them.
Yeah, what's impressive is lately they've been releasing a lot of cast strength stuff, like even of the like a 12-year-old, but they're doing cast strength, the 15-year-old cast strength, which is really cool to see that they're really trying to hit that premium market rate.
Yeah.
And the pickier rum snobs.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, is that allowing for larger capacity, they'll be able to have better quality aged stuff. So excited to see where that goes with their new capacities. And, they are saying there's a rising demand for the Demerara rums. So we should keep an eye out if you guys have any good Demerara rums that you'd like to recommend or send. All the better.
Yeah, for sure. They have a ton of stuff on their lineup.
Right.
So that's it from me for rum news. Shall we move on to new releases?
Sure.
So I will start with probably, to me, some of the most exciting ones. It's the Havana Club Irish Cask Whiskey Finish rum. This is part of the Iconica Tributo collection. This is actually the 8th installment. Asbel Morales is the master ronero in charge of this release. And it's a rum aged in Redbreast, which is an incredible Irish whiskey. If you haven't tried it, it's very, very good. And the proof on this is 43%, double that is the proof. And then as far as the notes, they're saying there's vanilla, dried fruits, and sherry. The price is a little bit up there, so prep your
little hearts and wallets.
Yeah, prep your hearts and wallets. It's a whopping $467. I don't know how everybody feels about this, but I feel like rum companies are testing us, and they continue to I don't know, play chicken. Okay, we're gonna release this and see if like how many people buy this.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't write down? Do you remember? It was just a couple bottles, right? It was like a couple hundred bottles. There wasn't a lot, too. It
It
wasn't like
was a limited, but I don't remember the number, but it was something that there's only limited amount of bottles. I don't think it was that low as far as how many bottles, but we
let's
read
see.
so many that it could be confusing it with a different one. I think it was something like 2000 maybe.
Yeah. So 2,967 limited individual numbered bottles.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll keep an eye out for this one. Maybe somebody could send us a free sample. We can keep it.
Keyword being free
Yeah.
sample, because that is crazy. Almost $500.
Yeah, Two Rivers is saying same thing. I'm trying to reach the bourbon prices. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And even like, I can't believe the other day I bumped into an auction website where they were selling like used rum bottles.
Used, like open, has
Yeah,
some
like
missing.
previously open. Yeah, isn't that crazy? But anyway, what new release do you have, Nani?
Where I'm gonna kick it off with New Grove Bio Rum. So they're calling it bio rum because, I mean, it's kind of in the name, bio, eco-friendly. So they're having eco-friendly packaging. They're using FSC certified paper and vegetable-based ink for their labels and packaging, and they're sourcing their materials from local suppliers. There wasn't a whole lot on it, but it's distilled in column still, unaged white rum, and it spends 24 months resting in vats before bottling. And its notes are exotic fruit and peppermint, which I thought was interesting. You don't hear a lot about mint being in rum. So,
No.
like, I think in general in liquors, you hear about mint in like schnapps, like a peppermint schnapps or something like that, but you don't really hear a lot about mint in rum, like as one of the notes. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, that sounds like it'd probably be very refreshing. And then they also made a note to say that it makes a really good daiquiri, which I could see that. So,
Oh, wow.
and that one is at 50% ABV.
And it's from Mauritius. I don't know a lot of rums that come from Mauritius as well. So
Yeah, and I mean, if nobody knows where Mauritius is, it's a small little island nation off the coast of Africa, like really, really small, like on the eastern coast. So it's in the Indian Ocean. I mean, it's beautiful. If you look at pictures, it's absolutely gorgeous there. So it's got the tropical vibes and the tropical, going for it. Whatever the zhuzh going for it.
yeah, as you can see, it's a really cool looking bottle.
Yeah.
My next release is another one that you're going to have to watch your pockets and watch your little hearts. It's the Brugal Andres number 2.
Ooh, look at that box. I like it.
So let me start breaking your hearts. It's a whopping $3,000. Yes, $3,000. And as you can see, it comes in a handmade wooden case.
They want us to rob a bank for this one, and you can use the box to rob the bank with, because they're taking you straight to the bank with that one.
Yeah. So if you look at the case, it's handmade wooden. The bottle, apparently it's hand blown. So like every single bottle is very unique. And it comes with actually 2 of these little glasses inside that case.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now,
I mean, unless the glasses are made of gold, I don't get it, but okay.
I don't get it either. And wait, but there's more.
But there's more.
So this blend is a little bit different from the version 1 or edition 1. So it's apparently 4 single casks that are hand chosen by Jacil, who's the 5th generation or 6th generation master distiller of the Brugal family. So it's 4 single casks. 3 are ex-bourbon, and 1 is brand new American oak. There's only
brand new, like virgin?
Yes, virgin.
Okay.
Yeah, virgin. And there's only 416 bottles.
Oh, so see, now that's definitely way more limited than 3,000 bottles.
The only thing, and everybody pay attention to this, they don't disclose anywhere the aging of this $3,000 bottle, which to me, it's like, excuse me, what?
So
$3,000
what makes it so
unique.
right? What makes it unique, but
Yeah.
also like so expensive and worth it, and like,
yeah. So
interesting.
just a little food for thoughts. What is your next release, Nani?
It looks great. Like the box and the packaging. Like, are we paying for the packaging? Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, and I've seen this packaging of version 1.
Yeah.
In Miami in the Koana room.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it in person. The bottle was empty, but they just had it there to like showcase it, I guess.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we had this bottle, kind of like BDE energy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we had this one.
Look what we can do.
Yeah. And let me tell you, it's a gorgeous box. So the box looks closed in that picture, but it opens up in a trifold, kind of like a flower.
Okay.
And you showcase the bottle on the top. It's like elevated. You'll see if you just Google it, I'm sure you'll see hundreds of pictures.
But I'm guessing the box is probably like the size of the bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great. I mean, I don't know if it's $3,000 great, but
no, especially when you're not saying, oh, it's 4 single casks that have been aged for 20 years.
Right. You're not.
There's not a single age statement, but
we do like Brugal, so we know they put out good products, and they've been around for like 150 years or something like that, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, why not disclose?
Yeah, and speaking of Brugal, I'm actually going to go there in July.
Oh, that's news. I didn't know this.
Yeah, super excited. So we actually are going to end up going for a wedding.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to have a longer weekend, and we got connected with the family through another mutual friend. So I'm going to possibly taste this. So make sure if you're not subscribed, you definitely subscribe to my channel, because I'll definitely give you guys a review, and I'll have a video because, we're trying to get the tour.
Yeah.
All the behind scenes. And guess what? I'm one of the few channels that you don't have to be a Patreon. You don't have to pay any monthly fees. This is all the wealth that I'm sharing and paying out of my pocket for you guys to experience, because I know how difficult it is to travel in these times and how expensive it is to travel. So I obviously want to share with you guys. I want you to see what I'm seeing, because I think it's so important to see how these distilleries look. What's the difference? I did put in the post on YouTube, if you guys do have some questions that you want me to ask as I continue to visit these distilleries, I would really appreciate your guys' feedback. I know I received an email from one of my subscribers asking to please try to ask the distillers the same questions, or every time I go to the distillery, so they can compare. So I am working on compiling a spreadsheet, and they will be shared with all the different either stills or fermentation methods, or if they give me any of that type of information, just so we can have everything on the spreadsheet, and then I will be sharing that. So stay tuned.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Hey, Jami, no worries. Welcome.
Yes, thank you for joining.
What's your next release, Nani?
My next one is one that's been on our last couple of episodes, and I know you've been there. It's great. We love their rum. It's St. James Single Cask 2003. So this one is aged for 18 years. So speaking of aging, it's aged for 18 years in American oak barrels. And it also rests for 2 years in vats before bottling. Now, this one, I didn't see anything regarding a price or anything like that, but it's only 12 casks, limited edition of only 1,750 numbered bottles. So this one, I'm going to guess the price is going to be pretty high up there as well, being that it's only 1,700 bottles and only 12 casks.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that maybe you can educate me and maybe somebody else doesn't know, is that instead, I couldn't find anything regarding like ABV or anything like that. Like I looked on, I don't even know how many articles, but what it didn't say a percent, but it did say for a degree of 42.3. And I've noticed that with some of the other St. James's as well, they refer to degrees. And I couldn't find anything about like what that's referencing. Would you be able to, do you know, or?
Yeah, it's exactly the same as ABV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
Yeah.
what I figured, but like it was worded differently. And I know a lot of their stuff was in French, and I'm like, maybe I'm interpreting it weird, but that's how I took it, is that it was essentially the proof for the ABV.
Yes.
So that one looks exciting. Also beautiful packaging.
Super exciting. And just doing a quick search here,
Mhm.
in Europe, it's looking like they're launching this bottle at 189 euros,
Yeah.
188 euros.
So I would expect to spend about 230-ish, 250-ish US
Which
dollars on that
again,
around
for a
here.
20-year-old rum, I don't think that's bad. 250.
Right. Yeah. And it's St. James, like reputable, good rum. You know what you're getting. Jaime, that this is what did I say? 42.3 for
Yeah.
the ABV.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I know you
And
have
the packaging is beautiful, huh? Comes in that box.
it's beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Like packaging is great. It looks like it's a wooden box that has like a bifold opening.
Yeah, it does. I'm
So
looking.
we love St. James. I know you have a few bottles of St. James. So that's exciting for them. What do you
Yeah.
have? Do you have anything else as far as newly release? I have one more.
I
No, actually, I
should.
lied. I have two more.
Yes, I actually do have a couple more. This one's very interesting, and we were talking about this because we have brought this rum brand up a couple of times lately, and it is Ray and Nephew's 43%. No, 43 ABV, right? So
Yeah.
this is only and going to be exclusively released in the UK market. So I have
Mhm.
a feeling they're gonna launch it in the market where they expect the most support. And just for comparison's sake, it's going from 63 to 43, which is a considerable difference.
Yeah.
And just so we're all on the same page, because you and I kind of were discussing like the ins and outs when we were
Yeah.
preparing for Rum News, they're calling it that this is not a diluted version of the original Ray and Nephew. So it's not a diluted version. They're just trying, I feel like, please the masses a little bit more and put something out there that's gonna bring people into the Jamaican side of rum, which I think it's a really interesting take on it.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know, maybe we
I
can
mean,
get
if you're not a rum drunker, rum drinker, to go into something that is overproof, it is a little. It can be a little, what's the word? I'm like smacks you in the face. It can be very earth shattering.
yeah,
If you're not if you're not a big drinker, like some people think, oh, it's white rum. That's not going to be, that's nothing. That's easy. That's water. But a lot of them, it's, overproof, and that's not easy to down if you're not used
and
to drinking.
especially Jamaican rums, they have very high esters, so they're quite pungent, and it's not for everybody. It's kind of like the licorice of the regular world. Either you love it or you hate it, and most people, if you do love it, you're like obsessed.
Especially when it comes to Jamaican stuff.
Oh, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Two Rivers. I'm a run drunker.
we are rum drunker. Yeah, I'm a rum drunker too.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
we're drunkers. It's fine. It's okay. We're all drunkers here.
Yeah, yeah. So
We
we
don't
did.
judge.
Obviously, we do have a lot of Ray and Nephew in Florida, so
Yeah, there's a
maybe we
lot of
can
it.
get lucky and try this. But Jami's saying that he might get some hands on it, and it would be super cool if you would share just a little bit of that, Jami.
Yeah, why did he say sadly? Are you like not finding a specific?
Yeah, probably he's got friends worldwide, so he's
Yeah.
probably not having success yet. But I trust in you, Jami. I trust in your connections worldwide. You're like Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide.
He already says he's going to share. So if you are
Awesome.
able to get it,
Thank
yeah,
you
we look
so
forward
much.
to trying that. All right, my next one. Now, for our veteran old time watchers and listeners, you may be surprised that I'm even mentioning this because we're bougie and we're sticklers. We're, what is it, rum snobs. Captain Morgan is coming out with, for my next new release, a sweet chili lime.
Oh yeah.
So we love to try new and different things in the rum industry, like who's doing what, like as far as flavors go, because I feel like rum is something you can do so many different things with, but you always tend to run into like the same types of, things as far as like the spices go, as far as the flavoring go, as far, you're always running into like the exotic tropical fruits. So sweet chili lime definitely grabbed our attention. It's going to be released nationwide. And so it's obviously going to be sweetness, citrus flavors, subtle chili heat. It's all in the name, sweet chili lime. It's got your sweet, it's got your heat, it's got your citrus.
Yeah.
And it's going to be coming in multiple sized bottles. You'll be able to get it in the 50 milliliter, 375, 750, 1 liter, and 1.75. So I'm thinking they're thinking this is going to blow off the shelves, because usually when you're doing it in that many sizes, you're expecting that it's going to be very successful. They're saying it's going to be, instead of mind blowing, it's going to be quote unquote mouth blowing. And I was like, interesting words, but okay. And it'll be a 35% ABV, so it is definitely on the lower side for the, easy drinkers for cocktails. And they partnered with a company called Pretzelized. I guess they have a line of snacks, and so they partnered with them. And Pretzelized has pretzel snackers that is like meant for complimentary sharing and pairing of the flavors with this specific Captain Morgan's rum. So if you see that, be on the lookout. Let us know how that is. If we see it, maybe we'll get like one of the little bottles to try it out if we see it on the shelves. But Captain Morgan's sweet chili lime.
And we were literally just talking about Montaña's pineapple and
habanero
that we're going to order for sure. But
Yes.
I think it's really interesting that and I'm assuming they're trying to get tropical but spicy for the summer coming up. So
exactly, that's exactly what they were saying. It's perfect in time for the summer. They want it to target the consumers that are going to be outside doing outside activity.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, it's exciting. I'm actually, y'all, I don't like spiced rum, generally speaking, and Captain's is like, that's like,
but this is not a spiced rum.
That's the reason I don't like spiced rum, just so you have an idea. So, but this sounds like it could be potentially something fun to try. I could see them potentially coming out with like an RTD or something that features this specific rum. So if you guys see that, keep an eye out. It would be interesting to hear about that.
Very, very interesting. And I have one last new release, and it is it's actually a beer aged in rum, and it is aged in Kamakara, which is an Indian rum, which is really interesting. It's aged 15 months in ex-Kamakara rum barrels, and it's going to be a Belgian double, which is kind of like Barrel of Monks here in Florida. They do a lot of Belgian style rum, not rums, beers. But I thought it was really interesting that now they're doing the reverse. So they're doing beer aged in Kamakara. Now, I wonder, they don't disclose which Kamakara it is. I have tried the 8 and the 12, and personally, I like the 12 way better. The 8 is very like, normal. Any other releases, Nani? No, right?
Yes, I have one more. So there's this Jamaican dance hall artist, which coincidentally he came out with his rum is made in Trinidad, but he released it in Guyana, but he's Jamaican. So his name is Vibes Cartel, and his rum that he came out with is called Straight Vibes Rum. And those the four names of his rum, it's named after 4 of his songs that are like very popular in Jamaica. So for example, I think it's the Fever is the one that's overproof.
Okay.
And I was just like, the names, I love the names. Like, it's just like, it's something that catches your attention, and the labels are very like pow in your face. And I love that he named him after his songs. Unfortunately, I was trying to like look at the bottles and zoom in, but I wasn't able to get any information as far as like notes and, ABV or anything like that. But I think for the most part, I think the overproof one is the only one that listed the ABV because it's 63%.
Okay.
So obviously overproof, it's going to be over 100. So the fever is the white one. And it's the overproof. The ramping shop is an enhanced rum. I was trying to figure out what that meant, but I didn't delve into it. But I don't know what enhanced rum means. It's enhanced rum.
Well, based on the coloring of that bottle, it looks quite dark. So I'm assuming they add coloring. It kind of looks like a rum and Coke in a bottle.
I was gonna say it's probably got a ton of additives and flavors in there. The Unstoppable is their dark rum, and then the Electric, as you can see, is their white rum. So it's interesting to see. I'd be curious to try. I wouldn't probably buy a bottle, but I'd be curious to try them, especially since it's a Jamaican who has his rum made in Trinidad, but then released it in Guyana. So I don't know, but the names look fun. The bottles look fun. So if you guys ever see this on the shelves and give it a try, let us know what you think.
Yeah, for sure. That's different, right?
Yeah.
And then now we're going to move on to Rumanomics. We love for everybody to discuss in the chat what your thoughts are, because obviously these are things that are going on in the rum world, especially that affect the economy as well, which is really interesting. Yeah. So Nani, we were talking about Salford. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
The Salford with the crowdfunding. So Salford rum, excuse me, they actually were able to crazily raise their funds with crowdfunding. Their target was 250,000 pounds, not euros, pounds.
Yeah.
They were able to raise that in just 1 hour, which is absolutely insane. Over and exceeded, and they were able to raise a total of over 300,000 for a total of 378,577 US dollars on Republic Europe. And they were just, I was reading that. I was like, holy crap, in an hour crowdfunding. That's insane. So they're trying to expand. They're trying to, scale up their distillery operations. They're like across the UK. They're trying to, solidify themselves as, a valid producer of rum and spirits. And yeah, they're located in the UK. What was your opinion on that when we were discussing the crowdfunding? Like, that's insane in my opinion.
It is insane. I did do a little bit of deeping dig on Republic Europe. So apparently it's kind of like our version of Kickstarter. If you're not familiar with it, is basically people open up their ideas to crowdfund for people to support their ideas. And Republic Europe does the same thing as Kickstarter. So it's truly like kind of grassroots people supporting.
Yeah.
Also, I know they are a gin company, but they are planning on doing rum as well. So it'll be interesting to see, because it's the first of my knowledge company that's being supported by a crowd. Now, I've been personally targeted by Instagram about a lot of companies that are doing crowdsourcing. I've gotten some advertisements for like a barrel company, a company that a cooperage that was looking for funding. I also looked at like some other company. I can't remember what spirits they were doing, but it was like a distiller in Europe that was looking for people. But there's everything in that Republic Europe, which I thought was interesting, including soccer teams that they're looking for people to support, which I thought was really cool. So people feel a bigger tie with that. So
for me, it's just crazy how quick they were able to raise that money. Like, how will y'all, like, what is your marketing? Like, that marketing person needs to get an instant promotion. Like, that needs to be VP of marketing. Like, what is it? CMO, like Chief Marketing Officer, because holy smokes, that an hour you were able to raise over 200 grand.
Well, and I was looking at the area where this distillery is built, and it seems like it's in some of the historic like canals where there was a lot of like spirits coming in, and now especially the UK is pretty big on um, the Navy style rums. So I'm assuming all that history and it also being like a smaller town kind of helped with that crowdfunding. So
Yeah.
very,
I
very
can see both sides of that, like where smaller town is like they don't have the funds, but like there's that sense of community and like
yes.
supporting the locals.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
So,
was thinking.
I mean, I'm looking at the article. They're saying that they were able to get 100% year-on-year sales growth, generating 1.25 million pounds in net revenue for last year. So clearly, they know what they're doing. So hopefully, they're able to expand into overseas, and we're able to get our hands on some of that, because I'd be very curious to see what they're doing and give it a try. And they seem to know what they're doing as far as like the economy side
Yeah.
of the market and of that industry. So hopefully they know what they're doing on the rum side of it.
Yeah, super exciting to see a brand having exposure and blowing up for for the people by the people kind of thing, which I
Right.
absolutely love.
Yeah.
Johnny's saying in the chats that he has not heard great things about vibes, and it doesn't surprise me. But he hasn't tried them himself, so he doesn't, he can't give a true opinion.
Yeah.
Owen is saying that he's fine with Hamden Estate, Worthy Park, and Long Pond. He's like, we don't need any new rum makers making stuff that isn't remotely in their league.
Yeah.
And pivoting, speaking of
I was
Hamden,
gonna say,
Worthy Park,
speaking of
and Long Pond,
Jamaica.
the other thing we wanted to bring up on Rumanomics was the big push of
Debacle.
Jamaican GI that we recently
Yeah.
saw from the BBC.
Mhm.
What are your opinions on that article? It was quite interesting.
Yeah, we actually saw a couple of articles about this. So for those of you that aren't aware of what's going on, obviously the distilleries that Cohen mentioned, Hampton Estate, Worthy Park, they are local. They're the ones that are currently trying to get the GI to stay as is, so that everything is local in order for it to be called a true Jamaican rum. Versus what was one of the ones that Plantaray is obviously not. They're trying to get it to be able to expand.
Yeah,
because
so
a lot of their stuff overseas.
Yeah, so the group is called National Rums of Jamaica. They're trying to say that overseas aging should be part of the GI, which is kind of the same push that they're trying to do in Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, there's key people behind this push, because it's obviously for monetary reasons and full transparency. Like, it's quite obvious, because it's West Indies Rum Distillery is part owner of National Rums of Jamaica. So Hampden Estate, Worthy Park, and what was the other one? Oh, Appleton Estate.
Yeah,
is part of the 3 companies that's trying to push the Jamaican GI to stay the same, and then National Rums of Jamaica, which they partly own Clarendon, Long Pond, and then Werspa, West Indies Rum, not Werspa, West Indies Rum Distillers
Word.
owner. They're trying to push for the GI to allow external aging. So how does everybody feel about that?
I personally want it to stay as is, because it forces them to boost the local economy. It forces them to use local. It forces them to, be quote unquote true Jamaican rum, because then you're aging there, you're bottling there. Everything is done at home in Jamaica for you to say it's a Jamaican rum. Because how are you going to, just because you're harvesting in Jamaica, but then if you're sending everything out, how are you going to say it's Jamaican, but it's getting bottled and aged in the UK or somewhere else in Europe or wherever? Like, we get it cost wise. Sometimes that's a lot, more feasible and more, or I should say not more cheaper, but less expensive. But I personally think the GI as is how it should be, where it needs to stay in Jamaica for it to be called a Jamaican rum. Personally.
Another thing we saw in one of the articles was that things that have a GI tend to be, what was it, 2.7 times more coveted than something that doesn't have a GI. So they're comparing the Jamaican GI to something like champagne or cognac,
Mm-hmm.
which is very strict regulations, and it truly does help the local economy.
Yeah, because they can increase prices like the 2.7, they can have higher prices. So if they're trying to, go overseas for cost effectiveness, well, if you stay in-house, you can boost your prices up because then it's, as you said, it's more coveted. It's, it's going to command more prices because it's done in-house. So you can kind of
Yeah,
make
that and it's
there.
and bottles have the designations on them, so they're also a symbol of quality, just like we have
Mhm.
bourbon here, and when it says bourbon, even though it doesn't say on the bottle, you already know the quality's there. Same
Right.
with any kind of GI, which is very interesting. And we literally just talked about the St. Lucia GI, which was
Yeah.
amazing too. That's brand new. Another thing that I didn't think of, and I don't know if you thought about this, but Cohen just brought up another thing, which is Euro age rum is meh compared to tropical age
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. You can
And
taste
that
the
is
difference.
yeah, that is quite true because also the influx in temperatures is not as high as when they do it in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I do have one more thing, and it is breaking,
oh, stop!
breaking news. I just
Stop
found
it.
this out today, and it's actually breaking Floridian news. If you're not familiar, I just found out today that Jupiter Rum Company is actually being sold. I'm going to put the link in the chat so everybody has it so you guys know that I'm not lying. This was today. I am not familiar with this rum company, but I know Paul from Drums and Rums that missed this today
Mm-hmm.
is not here, but they're selling it for $175,000.
How much? Girl,
175,000.
let's get a down payment on that and let's go.
So
Let's have our own rum company.
technically, well, wait, I'm gonna break your heart because for a
Oh,
second I was excited, and then I
yeah.
saw that they currently only make spiced rum, and that's where they
Listen,
lost it.
you have found a few that I've liked, and if we buy that ish, we can change it up. Be like, okay, we don't want the cloves and the cinnamon and the nutmeg. Like, we want some other spices up in there that we like. So
Yeah, so if everybody wants to put in their dollar here, $5 there,
we need to crowd fund.
$100,000 here and there, we
Let's
can
crowd
buy
fund.
it.
Listen, Salford was able to do it in an hour. We can do it in a day.
Yeah, right. And we can change the name to something else, something fun. Their labels, I don't know if anybody has seen them. They're too elaborate. It's obviously it's Jupiter Rum Company, so they have the lighthouse, they have a boat, they have coconuts with
It's like they're taking all of the Florida themes
yes,
together and like
yeah.
try.
It's
They
like
don't
where's
know.
your anchor and your shark or your
There's no
octopus?
identity. They just want to be all the things.
Oh
Hmm.
my god.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Like they don't
Yeah.
know what they
So
want to do. Like they're like, what says Florida? Oh, all these things. They're all going on the label.
yeah. So very interesting breaking rum news, which I thought was cool to share.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I think let's just go back to the chat because there's a couple of things.
Yeah.
Jami also confirmed that tropical rum is the best. We agree. Cone is saying American King looks like it wants to be balcones of rum in Louisiana. Maggie Campbell will end up walking. What do you mean by she'll end up walking? Like she'll end up leaving?
Yeah, which is interesting. I wonder if he was listening when I mentioned Maggie Campbell at the beginning, because I don't know if he was already on when I mentioned her. So that's
Possibly, yeah.
yeah.
So I personally don't think Maggie will walk because it's her business. For first
Yeah.
time ever, she's at the helm. She's the CEO. So we'll see. It's very interesting. Honestly, to me, based on the few articles that I've read from the rum wonk, Louisiana is the spot for American rum. Let's be honest. They have a lot of farms. They have a lot of sugar production there.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like the perfect hub to start American cane and pushing American rum.
Yeah.
Like I was just talking, like you highlighted Maggie for Women's History Month,
Yeah.
and I highlighted the owner of Oxbow, which is also in Louisiana, and
Mhm.
they're doing um, French style rums, and they're actually quite good.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and that's what she was wanting to do, is to kind of elevate rum value, like I said, because she felt it was very undervalued and underestimated. And her whole thing was she wants to inspire like a resurgence of the history of American rum. So who knows, maybe she'll, turn it on its head and make it skyrocket.
Yeah, and there's a decent amount of rum producers in Louisiana, but besides
Yeah.
Oxbow and what was the other one that got? Remember, they got like a huge tax.
Bayou? Was it Bayou?
Bayou, yeah, Bayou. But they're like more industrial, right? They're not so small craft.
Right. There was another one. We mentioned a couple of Louisiana rums last episode. It could have been one of those.
I know Wildcat is there too, which is I met them at the Miami Rum Renaissance. Their rum is really good too. But
yeah,
again,
there was one that I mentioned last episode. I wish I could remember. I remember it was like the all the proceeds were going to the farmers and things like that. There was like a special edition bottle that they were doing.
Oh, that was Oxbow.
That was Oxbow? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And what's cool about Oxbow is they do have their main lineup, which is no additives, nothing like that. But then she separated the lineup, the regular lineup of Oxbow, so that doesn't have any additives, and then she has a separate lineup with an even different name. I can't remember. I'm trying to look at here. I can see some photos. But basically those rums she does, it's like she does a version of a spiced rum.
Yeah.
On that side, but just from the name on the bottle that it's already a different rum.
Right.
And it stands like a different rum. So it doesn't create that confusion versus it being like, oh, this rum that's potentially added or that creates confusion. She's very specific on how she does these things, which is very impressive.
Yeah, so I don't know about the whole it trying to be balcones, but hopefully she'll elevate the company and do with it what she's hoping to do. Let's see. He says, I question that Maggie Campbell will be allowed to, and then it cuts off for me.
Oh, that she will be allowed to do what she wants to do. Don't like what I heard so far. It's a job for her, and she can walk away when it's just the rum business. Oh, I'll have to pick your brain, Cohen. I obviously haven't heard anything yet, but I just thought that she was the CEO of it, so I was like, oh, she's probably gonna not necessarily do what she wants, because obviously I'm sure there's investors, and when you have investors, you have to make them
you have to answer to somebody. You can't just go all willy-nilly. There's like a board, and as you said, there's investors, there's shareholders, there's a lot of people that have a say and have their hand in the cookie jar and their piece of the pie. So we'll see what happens with
for Oxbow, their brand where they do different aging or do different additives is False River. So like on the bottle, it'll say False River. So you already know that's like a different thing.
Yeah.
Jami said, oh, the other thing Cohen said is for us to buy Jupiter rum and just turn it into wild fermentation funky rum. That would be cool to do.
I would have fun with us like coming up with like a name, and that'd be fun.
Well, technically, when you buy this brand, you're buying the trademark of it's another thing that I found interesting is they're calling themselves a premium rum brand. But can anybody tell me if they've heard of Jupiter rum?
I live an hour from Jupiter. You're a little bit closer, and I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
But they're like of all the like festivals and fairs and conferences,
we've never seen them.
We've heard of them.
Literally never seen them once. Maybe that's what they're selling. They're like, oh no.
Like that one that we went to up in Vero Beach or the Treasure Coast one. That would have been a great one for them to showcase.
I know, right? They're like right there.
And it's like small craft, local, and yet they were nowhere to be found. So that's interesting.
Oh, and they're saying the reason for selling is relocating.
What? Make that make sense.
Cohen is saying we should change it to Nia Rum Company.
Oxbow used to be called Three Rolls.
That makes sense because I saw a photo and I was like, who's Three Rolls?
Oxbow, now you know.
Oxbow, yeah.
Oh,
okay, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so happy we got to continue to do this again. If we don't do it in person, we're going to do it virtual. I hope you enjoyed the pictures. We actually did enjoy that because I feel like sometimes we're talking about stuff and we're very visual creatures on the side of the screen.
Yeah.
So we like seeing stuff, and I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for everybody tuning in. I hope you enjoyed all the latest and greatest on rum news, on new releases, and Rumanomics. And if you do get your hands on some new releases, please let us know if you found anything that's worth our penny.
Yeah.
We would really appreciate it.
I mean, if you get your hands on that $3,000 bottle, I will send you my address directly so you can mail me some.
Me too. So let's close out with a little shot, a baby shot. Cheers, everybody. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. If you like this version of Rum News, the virtual, give it a thumbs up, a little heart, whatever you guys want to call it. Just some love. Show us some love. Show us some love that we're doing the right thing. Cheers, everybody, and I look forward to the next rum. Bye.